Well, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us once again for this unique career spotlight. I'm Laura Torres here with Blue Star Careers. And today we're taking the time to actually also celebrate and bring a very unique perspective as part of our Hispanic Heritage Month, acknowledging Blue Star Careers, acknowledging our Latinx or out in the community who are making it happen. So I have a very special guest, a colleague of mine, community collaborator, Dali Rivera from Dali Talks. Dali, how are you? Welcome to Unique Career Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
We're excited too, and I want to bring in the tambores and all kinds of things to really like welcome you and really share your very unique career, your perspective, your vision. And first of all, also I want to acknowledge you are yourself a U.S. veteran. You served in the Army, so thank you, Dali, for your service. And then you shifted into a military spouse role. So that would be like subject for another segment. Is like, how
Yeah.
did that change? What was that like? Going from a sort of person of authority at a certain level, and then suddenly you're like the military spouse. Not that our military spouses are less have less authority or anything like that, but it's a different mindset. But anyway, we're here to talk about a very unique career spotlight. And in your case, tell me, what is your unique career, Dali? What do you do right now on the side note, on the side hustle?
Yeah, so
Because, what don't you do? Because you do like tons of things.
I do actually. I probably should cut back because sometimes, yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But I'm a diversity and anti-bullying coach and consultant. So when I tell people this, they're like, "Huh? What? That's a thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, that is a thing." So do you want me to elaborate a little more about what that is?
Please tell us, what is a diversity and anti-bullying coach consultant? Yes, what is that?
So I'm pretty much a person who goes, and my target audience is parents. Most people think that I work with children, but honestly, I prefer speaking with adults than with children because children, they listen more about topics like this to the parents, and it's more impactful. So I educate the parents about what they should know, what bullying is, the signs, how to advocate properly, how to build up confidence so that kids can defend themselves, and other parent related topics like that. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. And I created this job for myself pretty much because after I graduated with a master's degree, I could not find the right job that fulfilled me. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna create my own job. And I already had all the material. I do a lot of research because I'm a nerd like that and I love it. So I started sharing the information, and then eventually I started going to schools. And right now I'm pivoting to work directly with the parent without having to go through the school. I mean, I'll still always go through the schools regardless because they need me there too. But I'd also like to just directly, work with the parents without having to get the schools involved there.
So that this is amazing. This is really, really cool. And that you were able to pivot and you sort of drafted your own career, your own uniqueness. You brought your own uniqueness to it, but there has to be a little bit maybe more to it. Besides wanting to create your own career path, what other perhaps you know challenges or better yet, what motivated you to create something like this and maybe saw the need for actually the win that you can say, hey, I can actually make some money here, or I can actually provide some income because you're making an impact. That's no doubt. But also, it's a business. It's a job. It's a career. And so, what actually created this vision for you, this need, motivation for you to actually say, hey, I can do this?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that question. So there's many answers to that, but real short, I was bullied as a kid, so I know what it's like. I was bullied as an adult. Actually, I was bullied in the military. and in my other civilian jobs. And I think that a lot of people get bullied, and sometimes they don't realize that what's happening to them is bullying. And then somebody messed with my baby when she was 5. And, that's where a mama bear's got to come out and do what she's got to do. But when I went to advocate for my daughter, I was just like flabbergasted, because the same policies that were created to help stop these incidents were the same policies that were hindering a solution. And I thought it was just not acceptable to have this impact the safety and the peace of mind of parents. So that's actually what catapulted me into making this a business. I was like, wait a minute. All these parents had no idea. I didn't have an idea, because I thought I'm a strong Latina woman who advocates for herself and her babies. Heck, I was a drill sergeant. I can do this. And then I go to the school and I'm like, you need to da 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 da. And they're like, stop. I'm sorry, but because of this policy, we can't do X, Y, and Z. It was like, whoa, that's crazy. And luckily, my concentration in my degree is social policy and leadership. So that social policy part was very handful, because it was very handy, because I was kind of trained to read policies and analyze what was working, like the wording, how you can use it to your advantage or disadvantage, or, maybe like suggest things to change. And that's exactly what I did. And that's really the value, I think, that people pay for when they hire me, because most parents are not going to go out and do all the research. They don't even know that they can just walk up to a school and ask a whole bunch of questions, because for some reason there's this mentality of us versus them, and they don't realize how much power they have in the power of their voice. So I'm very passionate about it. But the other element is because I see so much bullying of all sorts, especially now with technology, cyberbullying. It's like people can't express their opinion anymore without somebody going in and cyberbullying. And cyberbullying comes in different ways. So sometimes people confuse being passionate about a topic with, or with bullying. And that's what creates inequalities. That is what creates like people to justify why you're being horrible to another person. And it's really lack of understanding. So when I'm educating parents, I'm hoping to create a social movement to create understanding, so that along the way, we also get more equality in the world, because we really, really need it.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. Thank you. And you definitely are creating a much greater impact, because as I mentioned, you do a lot of things, right? Earlier, you do a lot of things. You just got off of the clubhouse. You were doing a segment there with some other colleagues of yours as well, and a different topic. And I love that you are super passionate about this, and you have you're creating and pivoting as we go, as we continue to move forward with different tools and different technology assets to pivot and create a much greater impact for this mission. Now, I know that in the past you were doing in-person workshops and in sessions for parents. And like you mentioned, you love to be able to go directly to the parents and educate them. So how is this career really right now with the current trend of closing the pandemic? How are you adapting to really deliver services for the community?
So yeah, that's been very interesting, because I really miss the in-person stuff, because there's nothing that can replace human connection. But I offer all of my services and my products virtually. So I'm still working with schools. I am actually even working with ASU. They have Arizona PBS. It's a professional development conference that they have every 6 months. So they always hire me to come back and teach all of their teachers about related topics to bullying and diversity. But I have digital programs, courses. I do live webinars, live workshops. I do, drop-ins and just like guest speaking. So all of that virtually, because of COVID. And I am actually starting to offer more in-person things nowadays, especially because we still use the COVID safety guidelines, and some places are very open to upholding those, so that I can come in and talk to the parents. So I have also a digital workbook that I encourage parents to please, if anything, if you want to get started, if you don't know how to get started and how to have this conversation with your children, start with something basic. So I created a workbook so that the parents can use it, and then the children can use it too. It has little activities and things like that. So I'm doing the best that I can, aside from like going on podcasts or hosting rooms on Clubhouse, where parents come in and listen and just get all this free advice from me.
Well, and you also accepting and allowing us to bring you in so that you can share a little bit more about your work. And so thank you so much for this time, Dali, and for taking the time, because I know you've had a long, long day, work and activities, and then community involvement. So, but I do want to pick your brain though, as a military spouse, and our challenge is usually with employment, trying to relocate and start all over again as we continue to move through this military lifestyle. What tips or tricks will you share with other military spouses that perhaps have that same enthusiasm or mission or vision in regards to what you're doing and the kind of work that you do? What tips or tricks will you share with others that might want to sort of incubate a similar activity or job career that what you do right now?
So networking is key. And that's the beauty of being a military spouse, is that you have so many people that you meet at every military installation. And there's no reason, especially nowadays, why you should not be able to communicate with other people. So use your resources and don't be afraid of that, because that was one of the things that I did at the beginning. I was too afraid because I didn't want to seem like the person that takes. So I wouldn't ask, and everybody was like, Dali, I can help you. I'll do this for you. I'll promote for you. I'll do, and I was like, oh, thank you. That's so kind. But I was so afraid to take them up on it. So when people are genuinely telling you that they're willing to help, take the help. And if you are doubting, if you're thinking maybe I'm taking too much, then you know what? Always ask them, like, what can I do for you to thank you for this? How can I reciprocate the gesture? And they'll be like very touched by that, because it'll come off very genuinely. And the other thing too is, don't think that your location is going to restrict you to any type of job. I know that some people have to go into the office, but believe it or not, if you really look and you ask around, like Blue Star, and say, hey, I'm looking for a career or a job that's virtual, you'll be surprised how many more have opened up, especially during this pandemic, because so many organizations have discovered that their jobs, they can do, their employees can do the jobs from home, and it saves them money. It saves the employee stress from driving and all of that stuff that we have to do. So yeah, just overcome that fear if you can. Just go for it, because the worst thing that's going to happen is that somebody's going to say no, and then you can just move on, ask a different question, or try a different approach.
So be fearless and just go on and explore opportunities, and maybe connect with Dali and connect with people like Dali who can, give you some insights on how to fight that fear. How to maybe Dali, the next session of training will be how to deal with bullies in the office. In
Yeah.
how to move on to or move bullies in the workplace in general, companies and places where perhaps might not be so openly welcome. But that, if you need to connect with Dali, here's her site, dalitalks.com. And then, of course, we're really happy that she is here celebrating with me and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. So, Dali, something that is not related to careers, but I do want to ask you. A couple of years back when Coco came out, I started actually adapting and embracing a little more my Latina self in it. And so one of my things that I do around this time of the year is we actually do the whole Dia de los Muertos, and we do watch the Coco, because it reminds our kids of my mom, my grandma. So, what is one tradition that you do in your family to keep your Hispanic roots connected?
Oh, that's a good question. So
And
I'm
it was not
Nicaraguan.
on the list, so I just thought about it.
Yeah,
Sally?
yeah. So I'm Nicaraguan or Nicaragüense, and I think this is typical of most Latina households, is that when the weekend comes, we choose usually like Saturday or Sunday to do a deep cleaning day, and we just turn on the music. We turn on the music, we dance while we're cleaning, and then we have in Nicaragua it's very very common to eat plátano maduro frito, which is fried plantains, the sweet ones, with gallo pinto, which is a rice and bean mix of black beans, with crema, sour cream, and queso fresco on top. This really soft cheese. Ooh, my mouth waters just thinking about it. But that is how we burn off the calories while we're dancing and we're eating at the same time with our salsa or merengue. So that's how I embrace my Latinidad. And I love it because my kids get to learn a little bit about, like our foods, the music, and it really brightens up the day.
Fabulous. It is actually, somebody would probably say it's a dinner time yet because you just opened up. I mean, it's still very early for me. It's still only 3:55 for me, Dali. So I know you're East Coast and you're probably already hitting the dinner time. But for me, I got plenty of time to plan that. Is it pollo pinto?
Gallo pinto.
Gallo pinto, pollo gallo. It's almost the same, right? It depends on where you are in Latin America that you will call it. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to go and explore that. So one last question for you, Dali, and then we're going to wrap it up. I want to ask you, what's next for you? What's your call of action as far as your career, your diversity and inclusion consultant?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. So I want to mention that I offer all of my services and products in English and in Spanish because I really want to make sure that our Latinos have access to this information because we actually need it more because, we're a minority and we do experience a lot of racist bullying and other types of discrimination. So if a parent wants to work with me, the best way to contact me is at my website, dalitalks.com. There is a button there to schedule a call with me. And it's free to get this consultation to see if you are a good fit with me and I'm a good fit with you so that you can get some coaching because there are too many kids who walk around in silence with this trauma, and bullying has long lasting effects, mental health effects. And also there's plenty of evidence that shows that kids who are bullied before the age of 12 are twice as likely as kids who have never been bullied to end up in the correctional justice system. And then if they're bullied even after the age of 12, that their chances of ending up there are even higher. So this is not a matter of just like some kid, conflicts or anything like that. This is a matter of making sure that your child is safe and that if they have been traumatized, that they get some help.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for all of that. And I did right here share your website, your link. Then, of course, if you have any additional questions, you want to reach out Dali directly or one the backstage door. Just connect. Make sure that you connect with me. Connect with Spouse Force, our virtual community. We'll make sure that you get connected. And so, exploring opportunities and very unique careers like Dali as an anti-bully diversity coach but also thank you, Dali, for coming over and celebrating with us Hispanic Heritage Month, sharing a little bit more about your culture and maybe just in general. I know it was very short because we didn't touch about that. It's not. It more so showcasing our military spouse talent, veteran talent who have those Hispanic roots, just like you and I. Very proud to have that Hispanidad, showing, and so I'm very grateful for the work that you do, but also the great resources that you provide for facilitate for our community. So thank you, Dali.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Any last thoughts or anything as we close and we're going to go out with our very catchy song
Yes,
before we play it up?
yes, I do actually. One of the ways to build up your confidence is by allowing yourself to spend time only with the people who deserve being around you. Be selfish and just exclude all those who bring nothing but negativity.
There we go. So self care, it's also being selfish. So that's a good thing sometimes. So great. Thank you, Dali, for that. And have a great, fabulous rest of your weekend. And yeah, update your social. Yeah, when you do the cleaning and you do the dancing, we'll definitely be looking for that this weekend so that we can get inspired.
I'll do that.
All right. Thank you, Dali. Have a great rest of your week. And thank you for all of the work that you do and for serving Thank you for being a milspouse. Thank you.
Thank you.